Okay. So, I bought a car. And on we'll go. Yes, I got a car. From the title, I think I would title it I bought a car at 25, because I did buy the car at 25. Yes, it's officially been 6 months since I had it's officially been 6 months since I had her. I just usually, when things big like this happen with me, I usually need like some time to like marinate in it, marinate in it before I can share it like with the rest of the world. Anyway, so this is such a big deal for me because this is my biggest girl purchase as of right now. This is my first car. This car, and before I go on further, let me just give special shout out to God, because now that I'm like at this point in my life, I realized that a lot of the things that I wasn't able to do before was not because I was not saving enough, or because I was spending a lot on food, or because I was being too frivolous. Whoa, trying to get me naked over there. Or because I was because I was being too frivolous or anything. No, it really was just because I had terrible health. Anybody that knows me knows that my health previously was not the best. And it was so expensive catering to that. Like, you would go to the hospital, one 3-day stay in the hospital, and you would be paying 550 grand just like that. Like, Chelsea, come on now. And it wasn't like those were sparse. It wasn't like they were like spread out or anything. It was, you would have this, and you could have a hospital visit like that 2-3 times a month. So by the time you do that, so I just want to say a special shout out to God for good health. So not having to spend any money on healthcare the past, wow, how long has it been now? Hold on, don't laugh at my maths. 12. June. Right. This is what? My brain, I'm blank. I know this. What is this? This is 18 months. I have been perfectly healthy the last 18 months, and it shows even in my finances. Buying a car in Nigeria is not for the weak. I will tell you this right now. It's not a one-man job either. I had a whole team. I had people looking for me in Port Harcourt. I had people looking in Lagos. I had online people. I had the advisors. I had the people that were concerned about other things like the engine and all of that. So it took a whole community to do this. And before I started actually looking for a car, I made up a list, and this list was divided into two. There were the must-haves and there were the nice-to-haves. Now, under the must-haves were things that I considered non-negotiables, right? Things that I felt like I needed to have in the car to be happy, you know? And then the nice-to-haves were, you know, add-ons here and there that would give me that extra random stare at the car and be like, wow, this is my car. So for me, at the top of my must-have was that I wanted the car to have an odometer mileage of less than 100,000 kilometers. I know. Now that I've been through the whole process, I know that is like asking for a unicorn, right? I know that. But it was one of my must-haves, and it was very important to me because if it was a foreign used car, right, that had done say 120,000 miles, I would still be a little bit worried about it, but not so worried because the maintenance system there is like way higher than ours here in Nigeria. For starters, they take it to the original manufacturers to maintain the car, you know. So I would probably be okay with a foreign used car of over 100,000, but a Nigerian used with Nigerian mechanics, you know, you and I both know that Nigerian mechanics are not the best people. Sorry if you're a mechanic watching this, I love you guys. Also, it wasn't just about the number or the maintenance for me, it was also about the car in entirety, you know. A car that has done 100,000 miles is a car that has been used, you know, so you would see the obvious wear and tear in it. It would tell you, once you see it, it would tell you that yeah, I've been used, you know. And Nigerian roads are not the best. Again, if it were foreign used, some of these things would not be much of an issue because the roads there are good. But Nigerian roads with all the bumps, all the everything, all the bad roads, it would be too much for me. The second thing on my must-have list, my non-negotiables, is that it needed to be a Hyundai. I did not care. I was not going to buy a Toyota. Not because I don't think Toyotas are good, but because I just thought Hyundais were cute, you know, and they're not bad, you know. It's not like they're bad cars, but I'm just buying it because it's fine. They're not bad whatsoever. So it was one of my must-have. So I wasn't really, of course I was looking at Toyotas and the rest, because you know, you can't exactly get anything perfect in Nigeria, but like, yeah, I wanted a Hyundai. Another thing on my must-haves list was I needed the car to be at least 2013. I did not want a car that was less than 2013, and the reason is actually very, very vain. I know, but again, you know, my first car, so give me some of these things. So I didn't want a car that was less than 2013 because I didn't feel like cars less than 2013, I know that some of them are stronger, like the Toyotas and all of that, but I also knew that I preferred the modern features. I liked the way it looked, the exterior, the interior also, you know, the upgraded system, the Bluetooth, all of that. I needed all that. Okay, so and if I was already at this point where I already did not have a car before. It's not like I had a choice or anything, and I had already saved up all this money to buy a car. And so it was like, why not get what I want? What will make me happy? Why spend all this money and buy something that, you know, I'm not 100% happy with? So that was very high on my must-have list. Now on my nice-to-haves, I had even more vain things, like it needed to be silver in color. The interior needed to either be white or gray. I know. What else? Oh yeah. Another of my nice to have was I wanted it to be a push to start car. When I started, so I had these lists, right? And they were kind of like my guide in searching for cars, and they were at the top of my head. So I was like, okay, when I'm ready to deploy the people to start searching for cars, I'll just roll out this list and everybody will just walk with it, and we'll just find the perfect car, and everything would just be perfect. My dear, it was not perfect. So when I finally decided, okay, it's time to start searching for the car, I told the person I had in Lagos and the one I had in Port Harcourt, I told them, okay, this is what I want, this is what I'm trying to get with this, and you know, help me. And I remember that same day, I remember receiving a bunch of pictures. And I felt at first when I started receiving the pictures from the guy in Lagos, I was like, ooh, And then I opened it, and the cars they looked nice. The first one was blue. I remember I hated that it was blue, but it had everything else. It was push to start. The interior was white. It was what else was there? It was above, it was I think a 2015 even. It was a 2015 model. And then I asked, oh, what about the odometer and how much is it? The odometer was 150,000 first, and it was double my budget. And I was like, I was still in delusion. I was still telling myself, okay, it's because it's bringing a 2015 car. Because I said that it needs to be above 2013 doesn't mean it needs to be 2015. We can even do the 2013, you know? We can do 2014. It doesn't have to be 2015. I was still in delusion. So we kept checking and we kept checking. And the one thing that continued to daunt us was all the cars where we didn't find one car that was less than 100,000 miles, and all of them, even with this high odometer, were above my budget. And not above my budget by a few 100,000, not even above my budget by $1 million. Honey, that's not the above your budget that you just say, okay, let's do that. I was even contemplating buying the car, because I wasn't going to buy rubbish. It wasn't something that was 10,000. It wasn't even something that was 100,000 naira. Do you understand? That you would buy, and if it was rubbish, you would feel bad, but it would be okay. This was a lot of money, and this was going to be my first car. So I was like, okay, maybe I should push it down a few more months, save a little bit more, so that I can, bump up my budgets, And then one day, speaking to a friend, and he just said to me, don't worry, God will give you, how did he put it? It was a prayer that felt very much like minimum effort, maximum reward. That's what the prayer felt like. It kind of went like, don't worry, God will give you a car that has all the perfect features and has a low mileage and all of that, and you won't pay full price. That was the prayer. And he just said it so casually, but I grabbed it. I said, amen. And the very next day, I was just scrolling on Instagram. Yes, I got my car from Instagram. Yes. I was just scrolling on Instagram, and I saw this car, and I was like, this looks exactly like what I want. So I opened it. It was an ad, I remember. At this point, obviously, you already know that my Instagram ads were all cars, because you know how Instagram algorithms work. So I opened it, and I saw the odometer was 48,000. 48,000 for a Nigerian used car at that price. The first thing I asked was, well, what is wrong with it? So I called them, and I immediately scheduled a visit, and the person I had in Lagos went to inspect the car. And first of all, they were real, right? They were not like a scam. Second, the odometer was actually 48,000, and I know they can reduce those things, but when he saw the car, he called me immediately, and he was like, madam, we have to buy this car. This is our car. This is the car we have to buy. That if I see the engine is clean. The engine is this engine. We can't pass on this engine. In my head, I'm like, yeah, the engine is great, but how is the interior? How is the interior? Because everybody has the one that's worrying them. He was more concerned about that, but how's the interior looking? But I'd already seen pictures, so they sent me a video. Anyway, that day we paid, and then I got my baby. So the thing about her is she crosses all my my must-haves and my nice-to-haves. Her odometer is half of what I was, half of my limit. She is a 2014 model. She is silver in color. She has gray interior. She's perfect. And so the thing about her is she was a unicorn. She was a unicorn. I bought her from a company. I think if you're trying to buy a car in Nigeria, buy from companies. They, I think, maintain their cars more. Companies or banks. Because this car was bought brand new by a bank, used for a year and sold to the company, right? And the company also used it for a few months and then put it up for sale. There are two things that bring me so much joy about having her. The first is going to weddings. If you don't have a car and you've ever attended a wedding without a car of your own, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about, especially if you have to change, or if you're wearing heels that you would like to change to slippers at some point. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It's so much freedom. It's like, oh my god, you just drive to the venue with whatever it is you want to change. I went for my cousin's wedding with this car, and I had a full outfit change in my back seat. And after the whole, ceremony, the whole dancing in and all of that, I did a full change, and that was the most comfortable I had ever been at a wedding. It was perfect. The second perfect thing about owning her is going grocery shopping. Again, if you've ever tried to go grocery shopping without a car of your own, or without, with someone who is driving, you know exactly what I'm talking about, honey. It's a proper skill. The whole you have to calculate it from when you call the Uber driver to when you come out. You can't call him too early because he would arrive before you check out, before you pay and come out, and he'll cancel it, and then you'll come out you'll be stranded. You'll come out stranded with your bags. And you can't call him too late either, because you would still come out and be stranded aimlessly with your bags. And you can't go to more than one shop at the same time, obviously, because are you gonna leave your stuff in his car? Are you really gonna do that? Tell me, sis. Those two things make me so happy. Every time I can do those two things, I'm always like, I think those are my, wow, holy cow, I own a car. So yeah, I hope this video answers some of your questions, and thank you if you stayed till this point. Thank you so much, and see you in my next video. Bye.